anthropologists call it the puzzle of monogamous marriage. Why is it that a system that doesn't suit the interests of elite men, because as you say, the elite men, their instinct is to have lots of wives and to have sexual access to slaves and, to live the kind of ancient fantasy. Why would a system that doesn't suit the interests of those men become as dominant as it has? Because monogamous marriage has become the dominant system, through much of the world up until recently here. And the answer seems to be because monogamous marriage is a really good system, not necessarily for the elite men, but it's a really good system for the whole of society. You end up with lower crime levels, for instance, because you don't have this well of frustrated men who don't have partners. Men are tamed by marriage and by children in the sense that it gives them incentives to behave pro-socially, and actually tames men even at the biological level. We know that testosterone levels drop when men are...
It's the testosterone suppression system, as Joseph Henrik calls it.
Yeah. When men are involved in care for their children, their testosterone levels drop. They commit less crime. They drink less. All sorts of ways in which... This is obviously not to say that there aren't counterexamples. Of course there are, but on an average level, you can see their taming effect across all sorts of dimensions. And monogamous marriage also makes productive societies more productive on an economic level, because elite men, instead of investing in wives, they invest in new businesses. It turns out that this 2,000-year-old tool is actually really, really effective. Actually, in ways that we maybe didn't expect, and is effective. Actually, it lowers domestic violence rates and child abuse rates, because households which have lots of co-wives and their children in them tend to generate a lot of conflict. It actually meets all sorts of feminist purposes that we couldn't necessarily have foreseen, except that we experimented with the alternatives and found them not to be very good.
Did you come across there was a Vice article maybe a few months ago, and it was all about this new sexuality you can try. It's called radical monogamy. And then you read the article, it's just monogamy, people. It's just like, when you've tried everything else, it's like, and I was like, yeah, no, it kind of is radical though, isn't it? Because, among primates, that's not how they do it. Among other human societies, that's not how they do it. It is kind of radical, but it doesn't necessarily
come naturally.
No.
The Alex Kashuta, podcaster, I think her take on the radical monogamy piece was, this is the product of stepping on 1,000 rakes, like trying everything else, and oh no,
right.
Actually there was something in this all along.